Well, hey, Southern Oregon, welcome back to the Real Estate Show. So glad you could join us today. We've got one of my favorite brokers coming in here shortly, Commander Chris Barnett from Grants Pass, serving greater Josephine County, one of my most fun people to talk to, wealth of information, super competent, super nice, and very funny. So Commander Chris Barnett of Realty Executives is coming on the show today here in just a minute. In the meantime, let's quickly go through some stats. The local Rogue Valley Association of Realtors just came out with some new data. You can check it out on their website, but I'm going to give you some highlights because we have some changes happening in the market right now. So let's start with Josephine County. Josephine County listing inventory is up from this time last year, 19.8%. We have almost 20% more properties on the market in Josephine County than we did last year this time. Hallelujah. Thank you. Thank you, people, for putting your house on the market. Our rural properties are up at the 5-year mark. 41% in rural Josephine County properties are increasing from the 5 years ago. 41%. 1 year ago, Josephine County rural properties are up 1.8%. That's all good. Our urban Josephine County 5-year mark, you're up 52%, but hold on. 1 year in town, urban Josephine County is down 4.1%. We haven't seen that in a long time, but I predict that's going to change. We'll check it every week, but right now we've got minus 4.1% for the 1 year mark in Josephine County. Jackson County residential inventory is up 25.3% from this time last year. There's another yay for the folks that put their properties on the market. We really needed it. Jackson County residential inventory is up 25% year to date. The rural Jackson County 5-year mark, you're up 46%. Your rural properties in Jackson County 1 year mark are up 0.5%. The urban properties that's in town, Jackson County 5-year mark, you're up 38.6%. And Jackson County urban 1 year is down 2.2%. So we're down a little bit in the urbans in Jackson and Josephine County. But again, I predict they're gonna go up again, but that's why we do this show every week and we track the data. We still have a swell of buyers that just came into the market in the last 10 days. We're going to talk to Commander Chris Barnett of Realty Executives in Grants Pass and see what's going on in that market in their brokerage. Hold on. Don't change that dial. We have a great show. We'll be right back. Well, hey, Southern Oregon, welcome back to the Real Estate Show. So glad you could join us today. We've got Commander Chris Barnett here, Realty Executives, to give us the scoop on what's going on in Grants Pass and greater Josephine County. Welcome back, Chris.
Hey, thank you, Alice. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're one of my favorite guests. You just have your finger on the pulse of everything in Grants Pass and Josephine County. Gosh, hard to know where to start. Everything's been so strange lately. Why don't you bring us up to speed about what it's been like up there in your area?
Well, I know Josephine County saw a big slowdown. We saw it really start taking off in November of last year, December, January, slow. And now February, we get those nice sunny days and people get spring fever. And we're starting to get our phones to ring again. So when the sun's out, I have to say it does play a factor on the psyche of sellers and buyers. It is a truth. And I've been saying this for years, Alice, is that I tell all of my brokers in my office, I say, hey, you know, from Thanksgiving to the end of January, it's really kind of slow. So just be prepared, especially if you're a newer agent, that it's normal. And now when the sun comes out and people start feeling good again, they start shopping. And one thing I've noticed is that the interest rates are pushing buyers back a little bit because they are a little higher. Okay. You know, 5.5 to 6.5, depending on what day. I'm actually, last time I talked to you, I was in Phoenix at our headquarters conference. And then now here I'm in Florida and I just got back from a Hamadi conference, which is, we do photography and for realtors. So I'm going to this class and we're talking about how realtors are reacting to the market. And because they need photography and services to make their listings look the best, right? So they are starting to get phone calls left and right all around the country, because people are starting to absorb that the interest rates are what they are. And if you want to buy a house or you want to sell your house, the time is now.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think values have slipped some. That's not a lie. They've softened. So to get some houses to move, it's not the last 2 years, and we've had to adjust our pricing to meet the mindset of the buyer and the seller. Sellers want to get what their neighbor got. I get it. You get it. We all get it. But it all determines what the buyers are willing to pay for that particular property. And we're seeing a lot of negotiations back and forth. And we're trying to bridge that gap, bringing buyer and seller together. And that's what we do as brokers. It's difficult. It's difficult to deflate the value and say, well, my neighbor got it. How come I can't? Let's go higher. And I'm like,
Right.
I'm
They-
like, do you see that there's more homes on the market above 500,000 than there is below 500,000? I go, we're really top heavy in our area.
That's a good
And
word for it, top heavy.
yeah, we're top heavy. We have more homes above 500 than below it. And so I said, well, you're competing with a lot of homes. So, I think that sellers just have to get the advice of their realtor and really listen to them. And it's our job as realtors to educate our sellers and educate our buyers.
And to tell them the truth.
And tell them the truth. And it's
Yeah.
not sugarcoating at all. We're here to make a sale for them and for us. I mean, we're all in it together. If we can't move inventory, we all lose, right? So the economy loses because the economy is dependent on us moving people in and out of homes, and we're tax customers.
Well, that
So-
too. Yeah.
So, I mean, I really look at that and I go, hey, we contribute to the tax base. And I don't know the number, but I've heard it that every resident that moves into a home contributes how much money to the economy,
Yeah, it's
supports
thousands.
the economy.
Yeah, thousands of dollars. Yeah.
So I think we miss that sometimes going, hey, if we can make a sale and get somebody in a house that's not vacant, they're contributing and buying in the economy.
And it's good for the
And-
neighborhood too. We remember when there were all those vacant houses because you were around during the housing crisis, right?
Yes,
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And
I had to clear houses for the banks.
oh
Yeah.
yeah. And it's really hard on the neighborhood and it's hard on the homes.
Oh, absolutely. And weatherize and bugs and homes that sit. It's funny, the insects know when it's vacant. They just take over the
Yeah.
house.
Isn't that
They
weird?
do. And I tell my sellers, I go, you got to get a cleaner in here, probably check on it every month because those spiders, they make a web and they'll continue on. And things stiffen up, they dry out, rubber seal, stuff like that. You got to keep the motion going in a home, just like you do with our bodies,
Yeah.
if you
And
don't
the heat
move.
on.
And the heat and the cold contracting and winterizing and all that good stuff. It's a real fact. And use it or lose it. You got to use the home and live in it like it's meant to be, or things start breaking.
Yeah. And also it's just nice to have somebody move on with their life, go to that next step. That's really
next
why they
chapter.
called them, right?
Well, yeah, I tell it a life event. We're trying to take people to the next chapter in their lives.
Mhm.
And whether they want to be in your family, it's a job promotion, it's retirement, it's a new job. We're in the people moving business. And I like that because you meet a lot of different types of people. You hear their stories and you're like, hey, we're part of it for a little blip in their life.
Yeah.
We're in it for the long term, of course, but we're very important when they're going through this second biggest stressor in their life.
Yeah. So
Moving.
speaking of which, how many relocators did you guys have? I mean, I don't need like actual numbers, but do you have a sense of last year's relocation?
Well, we saw a
quantity?
lot of people bypassing Southern Oregon. So
Really?
yeah,
For
people that were
why?
going to move to our area decided to move to
I
Nevada,
had that too. I didn't
Arizona,
see. This is why it's
Texas.
good for the brokers to talk with each other because I had that happen a little bit too, but I didn't think much of it. So
Mhm.
let's dive into that. Why did they
Sure.
bypass Southern Oregon?
Well, I'm a longtime resident, graduated from Hidden Valley High School, lived in Grants Pass most of my adult life, and all of my adult life, and I have to tell you that the stories that I get, I go, why don't you move into Southern Oregon? Well, we're too expensive now. We got too high. Like they're mainly the Californians are telling me this because they used to buy up a lot of Oregon, right? Our prices are pretty high. The politics, I'm going to put that out there. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Some people didn't like the politics of our state. They felt too restrictive, especially with the COVID rules and all that, businesses shutting down. They didn't want to relocate their business here. So those people or professionals got jobs in other states and they moved there.
So they could stay open.
Yeah, Florida, I have to tell you, I never missed a beat. I've been traveling back and forth to Florida. I have a place in Florida too, and they never closed.
Right.
And
Right. The
their
school stayed
economy,
open. So I lost,
everything,
yep, the people I lost to Florida because they wanted to keep their kids in school,
absolutely. Arizona, same
which
way.
I don't blame them.
People,
Right.
yeah, and so I think lessons learned, and I hope our government listens to the people and say, hey, we can't go through that again. It hurt way too much for our youth and our businesses and stuff like that. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we're all want to help for the better cause of things, but
Mm-hmm.
I think we learned a lesson from other states going, hey, if they can do it, why couldn't we do it?
Mm-hmm.
And it really cost us because some of those relocators, like you're talking about, are rethinking Southern Oregon, unfortunately, because we have a beautiful place we live in. We got a lot to
It's the
offer.
lifestyle, right?
It's the lifestyle, and I love it. But people are starting to go to other states, just going, maybe there's something down there that we can get for cheaper. Price of goods are cheaper. Gas is cheaper. I mean, gas is $3.20 a gallon here in Florida right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's going down. And I'm like, wow,
Oh,
that's
is it?
yeah, it's fantastic because I know back in Oregon, we were hovering at 5.5 there for a while. And I think that plays a little bit of part in the psyche of a buyer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then the sellers, I have a lot of people that are moving, they get to that stage where they want to be with their loved ones and they relocate to those states,
Mm-hmm.
wherever they are.
Mm-hmm.
But they want top dollar for their home. And we try to get it for them. We want to get it for them, but we can only do so much. As you know, if things aren't moving, you're probably going to have to adjust the price to get that buyer on the hook.
And are you
And
seeing some of that coming out of the winter going into the spring market?
are you talking about
Just
sellers coming out?
prices and inventory and people's houses
Yeah.
staying on the market longer?
So I'm getting calls to book their house here this month, get it on the market. They're ready. But their pricing is still above what our recommendations are. So we just have to work on that, do what our sellers want, and then hopefully we can adjust it down the road. But our job is to get people in their houses, and if we are, and they're not making offers, and there's something out there that is stalling the sale, and the biggest thing, in my opinion, is price. The other could be their agent not doing enough marketing or whatever for the house, not getting
Mm-hmm.
its true exposure that it needs. And like I'm at this photography conference, I mean, there's a lot of things that we can do as realtors to spend money to make money by selling the house properly and getting people interested in it. I mean, we all try in different ways, our own unique way of selling. But I think we need to, especially the newer agents, they don't want to spend a dime. And I'm like, you got to spend money.
Well, they're
Uh,
starting a business. That's an interesting
well,
attitude. You need some money to start your business.
that's one thing they don't teach you in real estate school is, hey, how to run your business like a business. It's like, no, they teach you all the stuff that you're going to, I did it to pass a test and I'll learn it as I go. But the common sense part of it is you're a business owner and you have to budget. And there's some scary times and ups and downs where if you don't sell a home, you may not get a paycheck. So you got to save for those rainy days, right?
Yep. Yeah.
We all have done it. If you've been in the business, you know how long, I don't know how many years you've been in now, but 23 for me. And
Yeah.
it's like,
14 for me.
yeah, I've seen it go up and down. And I'm like, you know what? I love doing what I do. And if you just budget and pay your bills properly and the taxes,
Yeah.
I know people that have gotten out of the business because they don't like paying the taxes at the end of the year. And I'm like, well, you made good money, so why don't you pay those taxes?
Yeah,
Well,
that's a
I
reward.
well, it's a reward, but they don't want to, they didn't save for it. So then they're stuck.
Oh,
They
gotcha.
spent it. And I tell them, you better put a good chunk away, a third of what you make, just put it over there. And if you need it, you get extra back or whatever. I mean, talk to
Hmm.
your tax person. But, being in real estate, we are business owners and we have to save and pay our taxes or the IRS will come after you. And then it'll really hurt you. And then you're out of the business,
Yeah.
and I've seen realtors do that wholeheartedly.
Yep.
And well, I didn't know. And I'm like, well, real estate school and the real estate agency should put out some courses on that because I
Well,
think it's
and
very
you
valid.
principal brokers and owners are so great at that. We're talking to Chris Barnett of Realty Executives in Grants Pass. We just have a quick break coming up. Want to say thank you to Chris for being on the show today. Also want to thank our sponsors. We're very grateful to be brought to you by Guy Giles of Mutual Mortgage, the Rogue Valley Association of Realtors, and John L. Scott, Ashland and Medford. We thank you for bringing this educational radio show to the airs every week. We'll be right back with Chris Barnett. Don't go away. Well, welcome back to the Real Estate Show, folks. I'm Alice Lema. I'm a broker here in beautiful Southern Oregon with John L. Scott Real Estate, talking to one of my favorite agents in the whole world, Commander Chris Barnett of Realty Executives. Welcome back, Chris.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, Alice.
Well, and
Appreciate it.
thank you. And Chris is on vacation. So thank you for it's a working vacation.
It's a working vacation. Yeah.
Yeah.
I worked first, and now I'm playing for a few days and going back home tonight.
Yeah. So he has a place in Florida. And so that's why he's got a tan and I don't.
Yeah, I know. I think my tan, I know. I'm
If you're
afraid to
watching
go
this
back.
on YouTube. Yeah. So before the break, we were talking about the market in last year and kind of coming out of the winter. And so what do you see coming forward a little bit for 2023? Because we had such a weird year last year.
Yeah, we started off strong. And then midway, well, I would say in June, the red flag started going up. And I kind of predicted this on your last show last time.
You
I
did.
said, hey, look, I said, we're going to start seeing a slowdown at the end of 21. And then going into 22, we started off strong and then it just started going down. And I go, yep, it's going to catch up. The inflation and everything that was going on, I said, it's going to affect us. And it did. And now 23 is an unknown variable, I call it, because
that's a good one.
Everybody wants to ask, what's the crystal ball for 2023? And I'm like, you know what? We're always moving homes. We're always moving people in and out. Is it going to be stronger than last year? We don't know yet. It's too early to tell. It's only February. But I can tell you that people are perking up to get their homes on the market, which is a good sign. Also, buyers are starting to look at homes again, which is a good sign. So I think if we can just work on those interest rates, our lenders can, or the feds can lower the interest rates out there. It'll help the lenders too as well. Make those price points for a buyer affordable. And that's why we had people buying expensive homes because hey, the rate was only 2.5%, 3%.
Because it was about the payment, right? It's about the payment. Yeah. And how much equity you're bringing to the game if you're selling.
Well, absolutely. If you can afford the Porsche and we make your payments affordable today, why not take it home? And we were seeing that with houses, right? Why not buy that mansion up on the hill? Well, how much is it?
If you can, yeah.
Yeah, I can't afford that. Well, how about these payments? Sure. Next thing you know, the lender's closing the deal and you're stuck with that house, but your payments are affordable. So it makes it psychologically okay.
Yeah. And do you find that people that own homes that have had them for a while don't realize how much equity they have and the down payment going into the next house is so big that their payment is actually comfortable?
Yeah, people that have owned their house for a while and they got good equity, they're not going to see a problem. I know they don't want to pay the higher interest rates, but And the more they put down on a house, the cheaper your payment.
Mm-hmm.
And even with the higher interest rates. So it's getting people to take their equity and transfer it. And the more you put down, the cheaper your payment. It's simple math.
Yeah.
But some people are like, well, I got to hold back some of this for a rainy day. You can do that, but your payment may be a little higher. Just be prepared for that.
That's true.
Oh,
That's very true. So, divorces. I'm
yes.
having people sell their house now. We didn't have much of that during the shutdown. What are you seeing? Are you seeing this is just interesting to talk about, like how
Sure.
life changes after shutdown.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you have much of that happening?
No, I don't think the divorcing thing has happened too much. I thought, you know, I have not seen that. I have seen business owners that suffered and they've had
Oh,
to sell. So I've seen more of the business side than I
mm-hmm.
have the divorce side. So I would say people that got hit, economically hit, had a business, were forced to shut down, or limited services, they just shut their business down. And they're
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, I got equity in my home. I need to sell it and relocate.
Yeah. But thank
And
God
they
they
can't.
did. Yeah.
Yeah. And I know there was a lot of government help out there that trickled down to some businesses, not all of them. So I think that the money dried up and those people are like, well, hey, how do I pay for my employees and all this stuff when you can't be open, right? Then you can't
Mm-hmm.
get those employees back after you let them go.
Oh,
They
yeah.
have other jobs and you're like, that was my best cook. That was my best server. You have to start all over again, and mentally exhausting for a lot of business owners that had the hospitality side of the house.
Yeah. Yeah. We had a lot of businesses relocate into other states as well. That's been
Mhm.
kind of a steady trickle. I know when I look at the heat map, it looks like it's even who's coming in and who's leaving number wise. But
Uh-huh.
gosh, it does seem like we've lost a lot of our businesses to Florida, Tennessee, Arizona, and other places.
Yeah, they definitely got an edge on us, but we're more beautiful in the big picture. Okay,
And we're
Oregon's
nice and we're
beautiful.
fun.
Yeah, and we get the four seasons, and that's the biggest thing that people love about Southern Oregon, like Grants Pass. It's the climate, and
Yeah, and the
and we do,
river. And I wanted to
and
ask
the
you,
river.
yeah,
Sure.
are the riverfront properties doing? Are you getting some listings coming this year of riverfront? Because we have quite a
Yep.
demand all of a sudden.
Yeah, I got one coming on next week. Matter of fact, we've been preparing since early January, and I'm going to get pictures this coming week, and we're ready to go. And the pricing on the river properties, river properties have their own. It's an emotional buy. You want the water, then you're going to pay the water price, and it really that pricing is all over the map. It's not consistent because everybody has a unique house on the river. But if you're a water person and you want that riverfront walk down and get into the river, then you're going to pay for that. But that's a luxury, just
It
like in
is.
Florida. Florida, you want to be on the water, you're going to pay for it, and it doesn't matter. If you want it, you'll pay the price. If you don't, move on. And unfortunately, that's what I see on the river. But there isn't a lot of it coming on. I mean, I haven't seen a lot of it. I'm hoping more will come on. But Grants Pass is very limited. They don't build new houses on the river, so you got
And
to buy an
people don't
existing.
sell. They like buy those and stay and give it to
Yeah,
their
they
kids.
well, yeah, they say, hey, you want a house on the river? I paid this. So yeah, give me this for it and I'll take it. You're right. Absolutely right. People do not get rid of their river homes as quickly.
Yeah, they're just there forever.
They
Um,
love it.
So the other property type I wanted to chat with you about is the cannabis grows, the legal
Yeah.
or not legal farm, the cannabis farm. What's the latest on that?
They've dried up. So if anything, I've seen some of them trying to sell their properties, but because they're not federally recognized, a lot of them are doing it separately. They're not using the realtors to sell those properties because you can't have the pictures of the cannabis in there and stuff like that for lending purposes. So they're trying to sell it privately. I've seen a lot of that happen.
Boy, that's going to be hard, especially in this market.
Yeah, and the boom happened and now the boom is gone. It's everybody's doing it. So if everybody's doing it, then it's saturated. And I kind of saw that one coming. You might have too. I was like, wow, I go, people are buying up all this land to grow marijuana and stuff. And then now it's like you can't go around on any corner and see a smoke shop or something. It's like it's everywhere. So I'm like,
Supply
well,
and
how many?
demand, baby.
It's like, well, how
Supply
many
and
shops
demand.
do? Yeah, how many shops do we need, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's saturated, and if you even talk to those store owners, they're seeing it too. They're seeing it like, well, everybody's doing it, so um, my demand is not as high because it's readily available at many different places now. And those people are figuring it out. They're growing it themselves or they're finding alternatives. So I think that that market, that industry is not it's not a prime industry for us. No, it's residential all the way.
So it's supply and demand. It's a great time to buy a rural property that used to have cannabis on it if you can swing it with the lender, because the prices are down off their highs because there's so much supply.
Correct. I mean, those marijuana owners that have the land, they paid a pretty good penny for those properties. I know it was like a feeding frenzy when it came to buying
Yep.
those properties. And the people that bought them, they used them very well. They've had enhanced the properties. But I have one that used to be a farm, and it's out in Selma, and it's beautiful. It's got everything there. It's just who wants to take it over and start their own business there or not. And the price is high. So I'm like, well, can we adjust the price? Because nobody's picking up on it. And as soon as I tell them the price, they just go, okay, thank you. And I said, it's perfect for a residential house. Just put it there. But the land has some things on it, and most grow properties have the tanks on there, some pipes or some things he left there. And I tell the homeowner or the owner of the property, so you got to clean it up a little bit more, because the next person may not want that, and it just kind of detracts. It's kind of a
Mhm.
nice, or some of these properties, they just had an operation and they bailed.
Yeah,
And
exactly. And they left a lot of the stuff.
it kind of looks a little junky, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? And we want their property to look great, so I'm like, get rid of that stuff and get rid of it. If you can't sell it as another grow property, there's a reason why they're selling it.
Yeah, but do
So
you think
uh,
another uh farming industry will come in and kind of scoop those properties up, or do you think it'll go back to hay or residential? Or what about the vineyards?
yeah, good old fashioned farming is popular right now. Have a chicken farm. Hey, raise your own eggs. So since eggs went up, right? But honestly, good farming in Southern Oregon is great. I'd like to see more of the traditional farms come back. Hemp was a popular item. I think that's kind of wore out. I think it's worn out a little bit too. I mean, it has some great uses, but barley, hay, corn, crops, good old fashioned farming. I just don't think Oregon's really pushing the farmers to produce crops. There's not a lot of incentives for farmers in Oregon, from what I've heard from more commercialized ones. They they love farming, but our state, our politics, some of the laws really kind of hurt the farmers and going in order for them to make money.
They're not super supportive of that industry. Yeah.
Well, and that's unfortunate because because a cow has flagellants, it's going to cause emissions in the atmosphere. So you know what I'm saying? It's just those things. But like I said, where's our cows anymore? I don't even see them as much as I used to. We used to have huge cattle ranches here, and some great farms, and I'm seeing those farms kind of go away. I just am.
Hmm.
You probably have seen too, but good old fashioned farming is great in Southern Oregon. Vineyards are great too. Um, I think any type of crop, if you just work the land, it's going to give you a reward. But there's got to be some incentivification from the government to promote farming. And if they do that, then I think you'll see more farmers do that as a living.
Yeah.
But
And,
yeah.
we have to talk about water too, because water is a big deal for the
Oh,
farmers.
water rights. Yeah,
Yeah.
water rights and stuff like that. So yeah, we need the water and we need some water rights to affect these properties. But yeah, hopefully farmland will come about.
So we're talking to Commander Chris Barnett, Realty Executives Grants Pass, the favorite go-to person in Josephine County. We'll be right back from a quick word from our sponsors. Do not touch that dial. Well, welcome back, folks, to the Real Estate Show. We're talking to Chris Barnett of Realty Executives in Grants Pass. And right before the break, we were talking about cannabis, kind of the status of the hemp and the cannabis people and farms. And I wanted to just follow up with a question about water, because part of the farming dilemma is water. And we had some rough years there.
Yeah, well, especially with the droughts and stuff like that in our area. But look, we got a good rain season the last couple months. So I've heard our levels are near normal or above normal for right now.
Oh,
And the
that's
snow,
stellar.
yeah. So, and the snowpack and the mountains are above normal for this time of year. So, I mean, when Mount Ashland opens early, that is a good sign. Okay.
Yeah. Now, you grew up here, and a lot of the folks that grew up here or have been here for decades have told me that Southern Oregon weather cycle has like a 10 or 20 year swatch. Is that true, that you go through certain cycles? Was it like that when you were growing up?
We didn't have the fires as much growing up.
Well,
So
and why was that?
talk about a 20-year cycle there. I don't know why, but I've seen Southern Oregon get drier and drier. And
Oh, okay. So that you're thinking that is a trend.
yeah, I think that, as I look around the world, I mean, we always, you hear the term global warming and stuff like that, but, the world is always moving. It's always changing. I mean,
Mhm.
Oregon wasn't the shape of Oregon way back when, and slowly over the years, it's changed. So I think the weather patterns in all parts of the world, they do get some various changes. Of course, where the sun is determines the heat and the cold and stuff like that, the sunlight. So I think that we have gotten a little drier for whatever reason in the summer. Our summers are more extreme and hot, but in the wintertime, I expected more rain, but we got it the last couple months. So I'm really hoping that we still get some more of that rain up until May, and then have a great summer. And
Yeah,
hopefully,
yeah. Gosh, to have our lakes and rivers back and
fantastic.
not so much fire danger.
Yep.
Although, it seems like the fire people, the different agencies are really coming together and working better together as a unit instead of separately.
Yeah, I agree on that. I think when disaster strikes, lightning strike, or a man-made fire or something, they're on it. That was proven last year. There were several fires that popped up, and boy, the Oregon Department of Forestry and other agencies got right on it. Saw the planes attack it. It was like, okay, you guys are working together to put out the fire. Don't let it keep burning. But there was a lot of question. Well, just let it burn. It'll burn
Yeah,
itself
they
out.
did that for a while.
They did that, and they say it's healthy. It's healthy for the forest. And
Yeah.
I understand regrowth. I do get that, but I'd rather save what we can, and we'll clear cut later if you want to regrowth to happen. I mean, sorry, the lumber industry is a strong industry in Oregon, and and they're restricted too, cutting down trees. And I go, everything I've seen replanting go on, been here long enough to where those where they clear cut a mountain and it's all regrowth now. And I'm like, oh, it took about 20 years, but you're seeing it all lush again. And I'm like, wow, regrowth does happen. I mean, you can plant so many trees for everyone you cut down, and I think that's good, and that it keeps Oregon healthy.
So that replanting is working.
It's working. I see it all the time. I mean, they have to do it. The timber industries say, hey, you cut that down. Oregon laws say you have to replant, and they do. And I see the regrowth, and it's amazing. Just 20-year span. I've seen mountains that got shaved, and then I see them all plentiful again, and then they go on the other side. They cut that. So as long as we can balance it out, if you look on Google Maps, you'll see all the clear cutting that goes on in Oregon, most of it in Central Oregon towards the coast. And you'll see all these shaved mountains, and then you'll see all the green dots where it's growing back. And I'm like,
Yeah.
so we are a state that can regrow
And
our
20 years
trees.
is not actually that long
It's
in the
not,
scheme of things.
nope. And when you need lumber, and lumber prices went way high and they were restricted on cutting and stuff like that, I go, we used to be a state of exporting, not importing. So we need to go back to exporting again, because Oregon depends on the trees and lumber mills and stuff like that to succeed. And as you
Mhm.
know, being here long enough, a lot of our lumber mills have closed down.
Yeah, quite a few, quite a few. Going back to the question of water, during the drought a couple years back, did you guys have to shut off any of your irrigation ditches?
No, my irrigation, the Grants Pass Irrigation District has been very good about keeping the water going, and I'm on that. And I've watered my whole yard and everything, and my neighbors, and we share one of those valves,
Uh-huh.
and they kept it going. Now there was threats they were going to shut it off, but it did not happen. Thank goodness, because that affects a lot of farming, and not only that, it dries up people's properties, and then you're more fire prone.
Then you're more fire prone. Yeah. Yeah. Do you think that the water situation exasperated the decline of the cannabis industry?
Yeah, the restrictions on the water definitely did that. You saw these water tanks and stuff like that, and they couldn't use domestic wells. And I get it, when you suck so much water out of the water table, that's supplying other people in the area for water. I mean, if you look at the dissection of how the earth is, and you see where the water pockets are, and they dry up. Well, yeah, I think that the water is an important thing, but I think I like them trucking it in. I think they're getting the water from somewhere, so they're getting it from the Rogue River, and then it's just going to flow out to the ocean anyway. So why not capture some of that and
Oh,
use
yeah.
it?
Mm-hmm.
I totally agree with that. They just let it flow out to the ocean. Well, how many people can benefit from that water without drying up the river? I understand, but I think we're blessed, land of the plenty. I think we have enough to go around. We're not like California, where you get restricted and they shut off your water.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you shut off electricity. They do rolling blackouts down there. Well, we have not had to do that in Oregon, from what I know. Pacific Power has not done that. But my friend lives in Sacramento, and every year rolling blackouts, they'll just say, enough, you're done. They shut you down.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then talk about inconvenience, all your refrigerators, stuff like that, And then the water too, they can't water only on certain days. And that's been going on for a long time. But this year they get a lot of water, hoping the reservoirs are filled up. I was born in LA, was past California, and moved up here with my family. So this is home. But I'm really happy to hear California got some more water.
So we're still getting relocation people from California. In fact, it feels more intense because of the problems you just mentioned. How
Yes.
many of those folks are you guys working with, looking out into the future, talking about 2023 coming?
Well, California, because our population is so big, is still one of our biggest sources of buyers for Southern Oregon. It just is. We didn't capture a lot of them last year because a lot of them went to other states, but we still, by population default, we get a lot of those people still moving to Southern Oregon. Buy here and we'll help you sell your house,
Chris, what's your cell phone if people want to reach out?
Sure, it's 541-660-5195 or chrisbarnettbroker.com.
Great. Commander Chris Barnett, Realty Executives, Grants Pass, Oregon. One of my favorite people to talk to. Thank you so much for taking a break from your Florida vacation.
No problem, Alice. Take care.
Thanks. Thanks, folks. We'll be back next week. Have a beautiful Southern Oregon week. Bye now.